Conference is proudly brought to you by Endowus, of course, and it would be remiss for us to not hear from the hosts for EWC themselves. So let's put our hands together to welcome today's hosts on stage to share a few words. Endowus Chairman and Chief Investment Officer, Samuel Rhee. And Chief Executive Officer for Endowus, Gregory Van. Welcome to the stage, Sam and Gregory. I'm sure all of you have a lot of questions in your minds. What's going on and
with Sam's knee?
We will get them addressed soon enough.
We should talk about your leg first.
Leg first,
Yeah,
to get that out of the way.
Get that out of the way.
Should we do that?
All right, Greg and Sam, all yours.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, everybody. It's wonderful to be here, and thank you so much for joining us today at the Endowus WealthTech Conference. We tried something new. We had a different session in the morning, a different session in the afternoon, but we did a similar presentation in the morning, which was much more formal, but we thought Greg and I would try something a bit more laid back. So we've changed it to a conversation with the Endowus co-founders, and we wanted to spend a little time just to go back memory lane, because it's actually a very, very important time for us. We're celebrating 5 years. We just turned 5, half a decade, since we launched Endowus to the public retail service with the launch of our CPF service. So maybe we can go back memory lane, but before that, celebrate some of the achievements that Endowus has made. So Greg, why don't you take us through some of the achievements that we're excited to share with the audience?
Yeah, very excited. I mean, 5 years since we launched CPF, SRS, and Cash in Singapore. We're now live in Singapore and Hong Kong, bringing our conflict-free wealth management model to as many people as we can. Very happy to celebrate as well $5 billion in platform assets in Singapore across CPF, SRS, and Cash. So thank you to all of you clients in trusting us and growing with us. $9 billion in group assets with another company that we own a majority of. We estimate that we're saving our clients $50 million per year in their investment costs. That's by, for those of you who are familiar with us, accessing institutional share classes, providing 100% cash back on trailer commissions, and not charging sales commissions, sales charges, transaction-based fees, and really trying to bring a new model of wealth management to the market, where we make money on assets only. That way, if our client succeeds, then we succeed. Really important, our clients are succeeding. We're very proud of this stat. Last week, we crossed $500 million in net investment gains for our clients since we started the firm. And there's a long, long way to go with this. And
that's a complicated way of saying we've made more than $500 million of money for our clients.
Yes.
Yeah. Net investment gains. Just
yes.
In case you're confused at what we're talking about.
So the P&L for our clients of what they've invested, more than $500 million, which actually sounds bigger than $500 million for
that's
some
why.
reason. Okay. And half a decade sounds longer than 5 years.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so. And
$500 million in half a decade, that's a new line.
$500 million, half a decade, value created for clients, which is awesome. And we've expanded our offering. We've been cash, CPF, SRS, but we're helping clients invest across more asset classes, from cash management to fixed income to equities to hedge funds and private markets, and helping them allocate that to their specific life goals.
Yeah, it's an amazing achievement. We really didn't have, specific number goals, but I think we're very happy with what we've been able to achieve. And really, the credit goes to the whole team, not just Greg and I. We have an amazing team who are very missional and purpose-driven in the work that they do, totally focused on serving you, the clients, because that's what you deserve, and really doing what's right for our clients, and maybe even changing the industry for the better, so that the overall financial service industry can really serve the client base and go back to our roots of being true fiduciaries, doing what's in the best interest of the clients always. And I know that, Greg, one of the other paramount achievements that you feel very strongly about is this hat you're wearing.
Yeah, I feel very strongly about this hat. Yeah.
So you want to talk about the hat a bit?
Sure. So in the goodie bags, in the Endowus totes, there is a hat.
Yes, the goodie bag that's on your seat, if you can find one.
Or when you pick it up on,
at the outside.
at the pickup, when you came in. And on the hat, you'll see that it's embroidered, it's not printed, okay?
High quality, guys.
High quality. It's unstructured, so it wraps around anyone's head. We went through many, many iterations, but very importantly, our logo mark is on the front, which is these 3 arcs. And we talked about it this morning. When we designed the 3 arcs, people didn't really know what it meant. They thought it was kind of a cool logo mark.
Or they thought it was a fake Nike logo.
Or it was like 3 Nike logos the wrong direction.
Yeah. Combination of Adidas and Nike.
And really, it represents our desire to bring a scientific approach to wealth management to everybody. So these marks represent specific goals, personalized goals that we have, and recognizes that they are all separate from each other, and therefore require different types of investments, different types of portfolios at different risk levels. And we want to be able to run this simultaneously, I mean, not just 3, but as many as you have on the Endowus platform. So the Endowus platform is really built from its core with that in mind, and we're still so early in that journey.
So the whole idea is that it is an upward sloping curve, so you are going to make money with those goals. But the other interpretation was that we are actually the only platform in Singapore where you can seamlessly invest your cash, your CPF, and your SRS. So your pension assets of CPF and SRS, but also your personal savings and private wealth. And so that's the 3 cash, CPF, SRS. And it was supposed to be an E as well for Endowus. No one sees that.
Questionable.
But
I don't know.
You saw that? Okay, great. So going back to the name, though, we really began with the idea of bringing institutional quality, endowment-style investing for all of us. And when we started, maybe we didn't fully understand that endowments in Singapore sometimes, especially for the older generation like me, has a slightly different connotation. But what we meant by endowment is Yale endowment, Harvard endowment, Stanford endowment, the university endowments. And the guy who really began this movement is a guy called David Swensen, who became CIO of Yale Endowment in the 70s and ran that investment office for 30 years. He averaged 13.7% annualized through thick and thin, through the cycles. The $1 billion that Yale Endowment had became $100 billion by the time he passed away, unfortunately, and before total returns before expenses, 100x, because he formalized asset allocation, which drives 90% of returns long term. Taking appropriate risks, discovering illiquidity risk by investing in private markets and venture and all these things. And so, Swensen famously said, by relying on the decisions of others to drive portfolio choices, investors fail to take responsibility for the fundamental fiduciary responsibility, designing a portfolio to meet institution-specific goals. And we can change that to personal-specific goals, family-specific goals. And we are building a platform that is a total wealth platform that allows you to do that fiduciary duty for yourselves to asset allocate across all these multiple asset classes of public, private markets, fixed income, cash, equities, private equity, private credit, and hedge funds as well. So I think that we are really living the dream of creating a true institutional endowment style investing platform for all Singaporeans across all your source of funds, like David Swensen would have designed it, and as institutional investors like GIC and sovereign wealth funds do.
But I think Swensen's quote is really important because we're not saying, he starts off by saying, by relying on the decisions of others to drive portfolio choices, investors fail to take responsibility for this fundamental fiduciary duty. And that is really important because we need to personalize wealth to what your own actual goals are, what your personal risk tolerance is for those specific goals that you have, whether it's short-term cash management, planning for retirement, planning for your children's whatever education, and for the next generation and generations ahead.
Yeah,
So.
because oftentimes prior to Endowus' arrival, a lot of financial fiduciaries were pushing products or selling products and forcing decisions upon investors, and we experienced the same thing. So Greg used to be at UBS, I used to be at Morgan Stanley for a long time. We know how private banks work, we know how wealth managers work, how retail banks work, and our experience just wasn't what we hoped or wanted, because the service that we wanted, which is what we are building, was not available here in Singapore. So I think it's been a great journey. We are running out of time, so we'll wrap up. But any closing comments and sharings that you want to do with the
thank you for, of course, being here and joining us on this journey. It's been 5 years since we launched. I think, if we think about it, actually, you are the earliest cohort of Endowus users. So in 30, 40, 50 years, it will be like, oh, I was there when Endowus was only 5 years old. So thank you for joining us on this journey of trying to do the right thing and create progress for industry, your families, wealth management overall.
And I think that alignment is really important, that we're aligned to your best interest, the clients, by not receiving any payments from anybody else, returning cash back to you, because that's yours, right? It shouldn't be taken by the banks or the brokers or the fund platforms. It should be your money, and we're just rightfully giving it back to you and charging a flat, transparent, all-in fee and low, which will help you succeed in your long-term outcomes. And I think that missional aspect and the purpose that we are sticking to is something that we feel very strongly about. Every single person at Endowus really has that missional mindset. And the long-term perspective when it comes to investing is important, but in building a business, it's the same. Greg and I, when we started, we said that we're not going to build for the next quarter, but we're going to build a business for the next quarter of a century. So we're committed to build this out for the next 25 years to get to our grand design of really offering.
Sam, you're a lot older than me. I
can
go much longer than 25 years.
That's why I'm doing this knee surgery, to regenerate cartilage using stem cells. So if you want to talk about that, if you have dodgy knees, please come talk to me. But so that I can work for another 20 years. But
cool.
Greg will definitely be around.
Yeah. All right.
With that, thank you so much.
We'll kick off the agenda of the afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg and Sam. Round of applause for them. Greg, I'll catch you later.